Hey everybody, sorry I'm not there this morning, but I will be back tomorrow, I promise. I hope you all had a great weekend. What we're going to work on today is a little bit of review of what we did on Thursday and also some stuff from Unit 1 because that's going to come into play for our next lesson. Okay, so as you are watching this video, what I would expect you to do is take notes on this piece of paper that you have in front of you, just like you would if I were there in class with you. So we're going to do a few examples together just to refresh your memory, and then you are going to work on the rest of the packet that we don't do together on your own. Okay? So last week we talked about solving two-step equations, and we talked about SAD-MEP. Remember our sad little guy? It looks like this. Right? There's SAD-MEP, mini SAD-MEP. Okay? And we talked about how this is our guide for solving equations, because when we're solving, we're undoing what's being done to the variable. Okay? And so since we're undoing, we're going to do order of operations backwards. Okay? Which means for our two steps, step one, let me get a different color. Step one is going to be either addition or subtraction, and then step two is going to be either multiplication or division. Now, we don't have to worry about exponents or parentheses at this exact moment because we're just dealing with two-step equations. So your first step is either going to be adding or subtracting, and then your second step is going to be multiplying or dividing depending on what's going on in the equation. Okay, so let's take a look at number 1. So number 1 says negative 22 equals 59 plus 9x. So you have to ask yourself, what is being done to the variable? This is 9 times x, so we have multiplication, and we also have this plus 59 that we have to undo. So I'm going to get rid of the addition by subtracting 59. And since I subtracted 59 on the right side of the equal sign, I also have to subtract 59 on the left side of the equal sign. So 59 minus 59 is 0. What color do I want? I'll do light purple. Okay, 59 minus 59 is 0, so that goes away. And negative 22 minus 59, we're going further negative, that's negative 81. And then I still have 9x. Okay, now I need to undo this multiplication, so I am going to divide by 9. Because 9 divided by 9 is 1, so that 1's out. We have 1x, which is just x, and negative 81 divided by 9 is negative 9. Then we put a box around our answer. So a couple things, make sure that each step along the way you are, one, showing your work, what you're doing to each side, but then you're also rewriting the equation as we go through it. As we move on this week, the equations are going to have more and more steps. So it's super duper important to have organized work. Okay, number 2, negative 9 equals x over 4 minus 3. So this is division and this is subtraction. According to SAD-MEP, I'm going to undo subtraction first. So I'm going to add 3 because negative 3 plus 3 is 0. 0's out. Okay, then I have negative 9 plus 3. So I'm over at negative 9, and then I'm going to go back towards 0, which gives me negative 6. And then I have x over 4. So see how I rewrote everything before I move on to the next step. Okay, now to undo division, I am going to multiply both sides by 4. And then I have 4 over 4, which is 1, and 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. So we have negative 24 equals x. Okay, I want to actually jump down to number 8. I want to jump down to number 8. Okay, so number 8 looks just like, the ones we've done before, but we have to be very careful with all of these negatives. Okay, so pay close attention to what we say is happening to x. So this is a minus 18, right? Because it's a negative 18 minus 18, those are the same thing. Okay, this is a negative 4, but what's happening is being multiplied to x. So this is a negative 4 that's being multiplied. Okay, so the first one we're going to get rid of is just this minus 18. That's all by itself. So I'm going to add 18. Because negative 18 plus 18 gives us 0. Now, this is where you have to be super careful. Okay, this is a negative 4x. Negative 4x. Make sure you bring that negative down to the next row. Then I'm going to do negative 50 plus 18, which is negative 32. And now I have to undo the multiplication. So to undo the multiplication, I am going to divide by negative 4. Divide by negative 4. I'm not adding 4 because this is being multiplied to x. We have to undo whatever it's doing to x. And we talked about when we have a number and a variable written right next to each other, that means they're being multiplied together. Negative 4 over negative 4 is 1, because anything divided by itself is 1. And 1x is just x. And negative 32 divided by negative 4 is 8. And it's positive 8 because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Okay, let's flip the page here. Let's see if there's any other ones I want to go through. Okay, so I'm on the second page, and I would like to look at number 2 right here. Okay, 2 equals negative 3 plus x divided by negative 2. So again, I'm going to get rid of this minus 3 first. I'm going to add 3, because negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So I have 2 plus 3, which is 5. On the right side, I have x divided by negative 2. So to undo the division, I am going to multiply by negative 2. So we multiply by the same number that we're dividing by. So over here, I'm going to multiply by negative 2. Negative 2 over negative 2 is 1, and x times 1 is just x. And then over here, negative 2 times 5 gives me negative 10. So I have negative 10 equals x. Okay. So I would like you to finish the rest of these equations on your own, but first, we have one more thing that we're going to review. So flip to the third page. Combining like terms and the distributive property. Okay. So this is something that we definitely need to review because it's going to come up in our lesson tomorrow. You need to be able to combine like terms and use the distributive property. This is something we did back in Unit 1, but we're going to touch on it again. So we can combine terms if they have the same variable and same exponent, but we don't have to worry about exponents today. So when I do negative 4x plus 5x, I can combine those because they both have an x. Okay, they both have an x. So negative 4 plus 5 gives me 1x or just x. 1x and x are the same thing. Okay, let's look at number 3. I can't add all of these together because they don't all have n's. So I have this 4n, and the only other one I can add it to is the 3n, because these ones don't have variables. So these ones I can add together, but not with the n's. So I can do 4n plus 3n and make that 7n, and 4 plus 1 gives me 5. And that's it. I can't add those together. That doesn't become 12 or 12n. Those can't go together. Okay, let's keep rolling. Number 5. These are the kinds of ones that you guys messed up on the test, okay? And it's really important to make sure you're looking at what symbol is in front of each term. So this is a negative 2x and this is a negative 7x. So when I put these together, I'm going to do negative 2 minus 7, not negative 2 plus 7, negative 2 minus 7, which gives me negative 9x. And then here, this is a negative 8, but this is a plus 2. So I'm going to do negative 8 plus 2, which is negative 6. Okay, negative 8x minus 10x. I can combine those together. That gives me negative 18x. 2k minus k. How many k's is this? That's 1k. So 2 minus 1 is 1k, or just k. 9n plus 3n is 12n. Okay, so that's combining like terms. Let's take a look at the distributive property. The distributive property means that I take whatever number is in front of the parentheses. So I want you to circle the 3. And we take the 3 and we multiply it to every term in the parentheses, not just the first one, but every term. So I'm going to do 3 times negative 7, and I'm going to do 3 times negative 8n, which gives me negative 24n. Okay, so number 15, that's an 8. I'm going to take the 8, multiply it to the r, and then multiply it to the 1. 8 times r is 8r. 8 times 1 is 8. 17. What's the number in front of the parentheses? It's a 2. So I'm going to do 2 times 6n to get 12n. And then I'm going to do 2 times negative 8 to get negative 16. Okay, number 19 steps it up a little bit because this is a negative 5. And yes, it's important that it's a negative 5 and not just 5. So when I do negative 5 times 8v, that gives me negative 40v. But when I do negative 5 times negative 2, a negative times a negative makes that a plus 10. Okay, 21. This one's weird. It doesn't look like there's a number in front, but if there's not a number in front, there's really a 1 there. So this is a negative 1. This is a negative 1. You need to remember that. So I'm going to multiply negative 1 times 3a, which makes it negative 3a. And then negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3. Okay, 23. Negative 8 times 5 is negative 40. Negative 8 times negative 3v gives me plus 24v. So that's the distributive property. Now, last couple of examples here. We are going to use both things. Use the distributive property, then combine like terms. So let's take a look at 25. I want you to circle the number in front of the parentheses, which in this case is 4. Okay? So when we simplify this, I'm still going to have that negative n, but then I'm going to do 4 times n, which is 4n. And then I'm going to do 4 times 1, which is 4. So that's the distributing. Then I'm going to combine like terms. So I can combine the n terms together. That's a negative 1n. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3n. plus 4. Okay, let's try 27. The number in front of the parentheses is a negative 2. So I'm going to distribute. Negative 2 times negative 3k gives me positive 6k. Negative 2 times 4 gives me negative 8. And I'm not going to do negative 2 times negative 7 because the 7 is not in the parentheses, but I am going to write minus 7. That still comes along for the ride. So I did the distributing. Now I need to combine like terms. There are no other terms with a k. So this is just going to be 6k. But I can do negative 8 minus 7 to give me minus 15. Okay. I want to do one more together, which is number 33. If there's not a number in front, what number is really in front? A 1, but in this case, it's a negative 1. Okay, so when I do a negative 1 times a negative n, that makes it a positive, because a negative times a negative is a positive, and it's 1, positive 1. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And again, since that minus 2n is not in the parentheses, it just kind of comes along for the ride. So that's the distributing. And then we're going to combine like terms. I can do 1n minus 2n and get negative 1n. And then the minus 2 is all by itself. And that's it. That's all we can do. Okay, so your task for the rest of the class period is to finish everything in this packet that we did not do together. Okay, so this will require you to be focused and on task for the entire time. The sub is going to collect this at the end of the hour, so make sure that you have shown me that you were working hard today. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.